go ahead and get started and people can join us as they come along. My name is Barbara Milligan. I'm the Director of State Services for Kids Chance of America and a consultant with the More Than Giving team. And as you know, we bring you these Give Back Better webinars every month or so as a way to share information and respond to requests for educational programs. So we're happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. I know you're busy. Please take a moment to put your name in the chat box so we know who's here. While I introduce Nikki. Nikki, I think you can go to the next slide.
We can.
Yeah, well, that's the name of our presentation. So as you all know, we are very event focused in our Kids Chance of America organizations across the country. And events are wonderful. They can bring in a lot of people, introduce new people to your organization, create excitement, but they're also a lot of work. So sometimes if you're on that kind of event hamster wheel, the hamsters get tired and you need to broaden your horizons and bring in other giving opportunities. So Nikki is here to show us how to establish an annual giving program so we can move beyond just the events. So she is a senior consultant with the More Than Giving company and also development director for Kids Chance of America. She works with the national board and the fundraising. And as you may know, especially if you were at conference, we've had a real shift towards adding individual giving to our revenue stream for Kids Chance of America, as well as corporate giving. So she's had a lot of experience both in Kids Chance and in her many years working in development to share. So Nikki, tell us what you know.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time to attend. We are going to cover a lot. And once I get started, I'm going to turn my camera off so we can see the presentation a little better. This is going to be kind of an introduction to Annual Giving 101. So it's trying to put a lot into a very short period of time. So if I brush over things or run through things, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information will be at the end of the presentation. I'm happy to set up calls and go over this with you individually and answer any questions and provide whatever guidance I can provide. So and you will find out here that Zoom is not my friend. Okay, so as Barb said, I am a senior consultant with More Than Giving, and I work with Kids Chance of America as their development director. Right now, we are going to be focusing on how to establish an annual giving program. And what we're going to look at in the next hour are ways to diversify your revenue stream and looking at the individual components of a comprehensive annual giving program. Before we talk about annual giving, I should have added this to the slide. Two questions we need to look at. If you lost your largest source of revenue, would you have to close your doors? And how heavily does your organization rely on event fundraising? COVID has taught us all, especially smaller nonprofits, that when we are unable to gather together and there are restrictions on events, if that is the only source of revenue we have, things get bleak very quickly. So what we are going to look at here is revenue diversification, taking a look at your nonprofit pie. In order to really have a comprehensive annual giving program and to have a sustainable revenue source, you don't want everything to have to come through one form. So this is just how nationally nonprofits divide up their revenue. About 69% comes from individual giving, for this case, corporate giving, giving by bequests or planned giving, and giving by foundations. And you will see here in 2020, it shifted because there were $0 that were giving by special events. So this is what nonprofits looked like when we removed special events from the equation in 2020, when COVID kind of took over the country. What is an annual giving program? So an annual giving program is an organized effort to obtain gifts on a yearly basis for the general operations of a nonprofit organization. And annual giving includes programs, events, and fundraising efforts your organization does each year, which all sounds really great. But simply put, an annual giving program is your organization's fundraising strategy. It is your layout and timeline for the year. So if your fiscal year begins on July 1st and runs through June 30th, your annual giving plan is going to lay out fundraising strategies beginning July 1, and will map out everything that you are going to do for your organization to raise revenue. Now, why do we need an annual giving plan? In addition to diversifying your revenue stream, annual giving, a comprehensive annual giving plan, is going to help you in a number of areas. It's going to broaden the support base of your organization. What the national organization is finding out, that as we are working on implementing an individual giving program and building that, it is allowing us to build relationships with our partners in a much different way. So we are no longer just dealing with the CEOs and the marketing individuals. We are now broadening our support base of individuals within our partners, and we're basically building an individual giving program from corporate giving. You're also going to look at upgrading your gift levels. Annual giving is going to have a donor retention, donor acknowledgement. Really working with your donors is going to be key. Annual giving is donor centered. And by working with your donors, building relationships, having those touch points, and really finding out why they support your mission, you are going to engage them in a much different level, which is going to make them want to support you in a number of ways. This is also going to provide operating support for your ongoing programs. If all you had was events in 2020, you pretty much were out of luck at that point. There was no basis for events. So what annual giving is going to do is going to provide you a foundation of financial stability that if you removed events from it, it's not going to hurt as much. It's going to diversify your giving sources. We're going to look at a number of areas that we're going to help you expand into. And it's going to increase the awareness of your mission and visibility of your organization. I've had this conversation with the national board many times. As somebody who has worked in nonprofit for 20 years now at national levels, until I joined Kids Chance, I had never heard of Kids Chance. And that is because it has been very corporate centered in one industry. And if you're not within that industry, the work you do, the mission of the organization is really lost. By annual giving and expanding your revenue streams and your visibility in the community, you're going to engage people outside of that comfort zone, and you're going to increase the visibility of your organization and bring more awareness to the mission. So getting started on your first annual giving plan. I know we're coming up here on the fiscal year. So what we want to do right now is you want to look back at what you have done in the past. Do your existing programs and campaigns still serve your cause? If you started off 10 years ago and you did a golf tournament, is that golf tournament showing growth, or is it starting to deplete? Are you still raising money? Are you still involving the community? Does it still serve the cause? Does it raise funds, and does it promote awareness? Will your current fundraising strategy be able to meet the current and future goals of your organization? The national organization, we're looking at a new 3-year strategic plan, which includes a drastic change in fundraising and almost a doubling of our fundraising goal. So in order to meet the new fundraising goal, we had to update our fundraising strategy to make sure that the revenue streams and the donor base is enough to meet those current goals and what we're going to do to build that out. Same goes true for the states. You need to look at where you want to be, and do you have the donor base to get there? Are your strategies still as effective as when first implemented? Where are these opportunities to evaluate new strategies this year? So is there a place that there is something that you can try? If you've done an end of year campaign, Giving Tuesday, some type of outreach during November for National Scholarship Month. So you want to look at new options and where we can plug those in to try them first. What do new donors want to see? You need to look at where donors are. Donors are becoming very savvy. They want to know the organization. They want to know your mission. They want to know what you are doing with their dollars. And in order to do that, you need to really look at the organization as a whole and how we're going to meet the donors' needs. And are you considering each unique donor segment when you set your fundraising strategy? And we will look at that moving forward. Components of an annual giving program. These are just a few of the items we're going to look at today. Individual donors, major donors, corporate donors, special events, we're not taking them away completely, and planned appeals. Whoa, sorry guys. So individual donors. Individual donors, if you look back, about 71% of all donations came from individual donors in 2022. And of that, 71% came in the last quarter. So between October and December, nonprofits received about 71% of all individual donations in a 3-month period. Giving Tuesday received $511 million online and $1.46 billion in offline donations in 2019. Giving Tuesday has gone way beyond social media campaigns and a couple emails. It has now become corporate outreach and employee giving plans. And there is a number of ways to build on that, what we'll look at. The average online donations among Americans is about $128, which is up about 36% since 2019. So my question is, what are your strategies for individual donors? And do you actually have a strategy for individual donors? Donor retention. Best practices is to retain 80% of donors from one year to the next. National average in 2021 was 43.6%. For Kids Chance of America, we did a little better than average. We were at about 48.3%, but we still have a ways to go. So my question is, each of you, for your state, what is your donor retention rate? Benefits of retaining donors. There are a number of benefits of retaining donors. We're going to look at 3 of the obvious. Annual donors are the foundation for your end of year giving. End of year giving, the last quarter giving for individual donors is the biggest opportunity that most nonprofits miss. 3 things. 1, it's the holidays. 2, taxes. 3, everybody is looking to support causes, support online campaigns. There are a number of things going on in the last quarter, but you have to plan accordingly. Retaining donors is also going to help you with a monthly giving program. Annual donors, or donors that you retain for more than 3 years, are likely going to be the foundation for a monthly giving program. If you have individuals who have supported you, continue to support you, and make contributions, building a monthly giving program does 3 things. It keeps them engaged, it helps support your mission, and it also helps provide a foundational support, financial support that you can count on every month. So going into each month, if you have $6,000 in recurring donations, that is $6,000 you know that you have every month. You don't have to worry about how you're going to raise it. Also, retaining donors, you're going to increase donation amounts over time. Somebody donates to your organization, just finds you online and makes a donation. That's great. If you reach out, you build that relationship, you cultivate that, you involve them, you keep them coming back and supporting the organization, they become more involved with your mission, and it also is going to increase your donation. The average increase of a donation from the first donation an individual makes to a donation they make after being involved with an organization for 5 years is about 131% increase. Donor retention strategy for individuals. This is something that we're working on with the National Center as well, and we did a focus on this at the conference. Acknowledgement. How do you acknowledge your donors? Do you send a thank you letter for every donation? I've actually had people ask me this question. If somebody sends you a donation more than once a year, do you have to thank them for every donation? Oh my God, yes. You thank them for every donation. If they make 6 donations in a month, you thank them for all 6. The rule of 7 is every donor should be thanked or recognized for one gift 7 times. That can be done through a number of things, and we're going to look at that moving forward. It can be done through an email. It can be done through a phone call. It can be done through a letter. It can be done through a board phone call. It can be done through an e-card over the holidays. But you want to make sure that you are acknowledging your donations. For every donation an individual sends, you want to acknowledge that gift. And recognition. Are you recognizing your donors? This right here, it's actually just kind of a generic one that I had put together, and I'm happy to share this information with you. It's a donor stewardship and acknowledgement plan. Now, over here on the left side, you will see acknowledgement, engagement, and recognition, all different things. And I just kind of filled a fake client in here, but it gives you the type of activity they should be getting. So you have a new donor, who would be somebody who made their very first gift to the organization, an annual donor, somebody who makes a gift yearly, and major donors are going to be individuals who make those larger gifts, and major donation amount will be set based on your donation, your organization's donors history. But my recommendation, if you get a new donor, they should within a week get a welcome letter from the organization. Thank you for making your donation to Kids Chance of Nebraska. This is what your donation is going to do. I would focus on one of your kids who have received a scholarship, focus on the mission, what's going to be going on with your organization in the coming year. After that, standard acknowledgement. Any donor who makes a gift within a week, and you always want to acknowledge gifts, best practices within 7 days. A standard acknowledgement letter can be sent out by postal, it can be sent out by an email, but you want to have that standard acknowledgement letter go out, and that can come from the development director, it can come from a board president, it can come from a board member, a staff member, whoever in your organization is appropriate, their name should be on that letter. Now, if you get down here an acknowledgement letter signed by the board president and development director, this would be for major donors. So if you get somebody who makes a major donation, there's going to be a special letter for it. If a first-time donor is a major donor, then they're going to get the welcome letter to Kids Chance, and they're also going to get the major donor thank you letter. So these are all touch points. What you are doing with these, you're not only just acknowledging a donor, you're building a relationship and you're segmenting your donor base. So right here, you are looking at new donors, annual donors or repeat donors, and major donors. Engagement and recognition is going to be how you're going to reach out to those donors when they haven't made a gift. You don't want to just reach out to donors to thank them for a gift or with appeals. Nobody only wants to receive emails when you're looking for money. They want to know what's going on with your organization throughout the year. So what I would recommend down here, opportunities to provide feedback through a survey. I would provide that with a welcome letter, just something quick. It can be an online survey. We can discuss how to set those up. I'm happy to help with that. It's great because it provides you some information. It gives you some background on them, what their work history is, who they work for, what industry they're from, how they learned about Kids Chance, and really ways to engage them. It's also key if you're trying to engage individuals outside of workers' comp. So it's finding out more about your donors as much as you can about them, and it's going to help you in the long run. An annual report. If your state does an annual report, it's a great way to reach out to everybody, send them that annual report just with an email, a quick, hey, here's the link to it. Thank you for supporting us. Everybody should be acknowledged in it. Invitations to any special events that your state might have. Donor recognition if you do a monthly newsletter. If you don't do a monthly newsletter, and I'm sure Barb has covered this because Barb is fantastic. It's a great way to communicate with your donors. It can be a one-page little simple email out through MailChimp and just focus on what's going on with your organization. Donor recognition and letter, you can focus on a major donor, you can focus on new donors, you can provide a list of all your donors that month. Everybody should receive the newsletters. You're going to provide email updates to all of your donors on events and what's happening within Kids Chance. I would recommend some type of monthly touch point with all of your donors in some way. Just an email, a quick call, donor features, but you just want to keep engaged with them year round. Identifying new individual donors, and this is always going to be the hardest point. How can you identify new individual donors? My first recommendation, go to your board. They're going to be your greatest source of information. They have the connections within the industry. They know the people. Networking with the board and getting lists from them is a great place to start. I was joking by getting by with a little help from your friends, your corporate circles, your business circles, professional circles, other groups you're tied to, family, friends, anybody that you can get to promote Kids Chance is going to be an ally and is going to help you with new donors. Make your organization's web presence a priority. I know we have so much else going on, but your web presence, your websites, your social medias, some of them are great. And I visited some of them before this phone call, just randomly. There are some that are up to date with current events, scholarship kids. And then there are others that haven't posted in 3 years. Did I miss something, Barb? I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
But you want to keep it up to date. You want to keep it active, because if I hop onto an organization's website and I see that nobody's been on it since 2018, one, I'm wondering, are they even still here? Two, what exactly are they doing with the money they're raising if they're not updating me on it? And three, if they don't care enough, I'm probably not going to care enough to make a donation. So really keeping everything up to date and current. Expand your outreach using social media. Social media is a great tool. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I personally don't use TikTok because I'm too old, but I can't get my college-age children off of it. And the kids that you're serving is great. I know some of the kids that I met at the conference, they were showing me their TikTok and sending me their videos. So you need to really meet your audience on the social media platforms that they're going to be using.
Can I just add something there, Nikki?
Absolutely.
In terms of when we're looking at our state organizations who do a lot of events, you're trying to get names that you can include in your annual appeal, for example, at the end of the year, or names of people who might become potential donors. You need to really use your events for that purpose to the extent that you can. So you may have corporate teams signed up for your golf tournament, for example. Make sure that you're getting their personal names and their email addresses so that it's not just the company that's in your database, but it's also the individuals. And then you can follow up with a thank you to the individuals, like Nikki said, of that acknowledgement is really what starts to build the relationship for the next time. So because you are doing events, really look at, are you collecting email addresses and individual names? And then how are you thanking those individuals afterwards? Because those folks can help you build your individual giving program. So thanks, Nikki.
Yeah. No, and Barb's completely right. I was at a golf tournament in Florida for Kids Chance, and it was a great event and they had a great showing. But when they were registering the teams, they only had the company's names down for the team. So it was, MedRisk had a team and Paradigm had a team, but I didn't know who was on those teams. So Barb's right. When you are having events, when you are doing luncheons, you are doing golf tournaments, you are doing galas, you are doing car shows, whatever you are doing, do not just register the company. You want everybody who is affiliated with the company that is attending that, you want their names and address or names and emails, names and cell phone numbers. If you use a CRM, and there are a number of CRMs that offer this, if you go to a golf tournament and you use a CRM like Bloomerang or Little Greenlight or some of even the smaller ones, they offer a function that you can actually just stand in line with your phone, with the app. They can give you their phone number and it automatically pulls their information from their cell phone carrier, and you can just verify, oh, so you're Bob Yoder and this is your number, and you have their donor information right there. So it's a great way to get information, but yes, always you want the individual's information. Major donors are the next step up from when you are looking at individual donors. Major donors from an organization, oh wow, about 88% of all your funds from individual donations come from about 12% of your donors. So whereas individual donors are extremely important, they are the foundation for major donors. In order to have a major donor, you have to engage individual donors and find the right people. What determines the amount of a major gift to your nonprofit? And this right here is what I want to stress, that when you hear major gift, I don't want you to think that I expect you to go out and start soliciting gifts of $100,000, because that's not what I expect. You want to look at a number of things. You want to look at your fundraising history, what your individual donor base looks at. If you don't have an individual program right now, or you have a very limited individual giving base, my recommendation would be just to skip through this part of the presentation when you sit back and look at it and focus on building the individual giving base, adding names to that, donor engagement, and really engaging that individual base with that before you ever get to this. Major donors are going to come after you have an individual giving program, you have annual supporters who come back every year, and then at that point, you're going to sit down and you want to look at your history. You want to look at the average donation amount from individuals. You want to look at the size of your organization and what your budget is and what your annual fundraising goal is. Smaller nonprofits, if you are looking at nonprofits, some that I work with who have an operating budget of $100,000 and less, $500 a major gift. That's what we strive for. To others, a major gift is $2,000. You get into large national nonprofits, $100,000 will be considered a major gift. So it's really just where your organization is as a whole, and major gifts are subjective. How do you identify major donors once you have your individual giving program and you're now ready to look for major donors? So the first thing you want to do, or I would recommend doing, is a prospect screening. So prospect screening, and we'll look at a few sources to do that. What it is, it's a look at your database, and it's usually done by a third party. There are a number of companies that offer it, and there are a few that I'll recommend that provide it at a very low cost to smaller nonprofits. But it's going to provide you with wealth indicators of everybody in your database. It's going to give you a history of their real estate ownership. Here, an individual that owns more than $2 million worth of real estate is 17 times more likely to give than the average person. It's going to tell you if they have stock ownership. Stock ownership can give you an idea of their potential, but it's also a great way to open up the possibility of donations in the form of stock. Political giving. If you have individuals who give over $2,500 to charitable campaigns, they're 14 times more likely to contribute to a nonprofit than those who do not. In addition to wealth indicators, it's going to give you philanthropic, can't talk today, indicators. It's going to show you individuals in your database based on the day-to-day research, their past giving. It's going to show you nonprofits they've supported, organizations, college alumni associations, if their kids had fundraisers. So it's going to basically give you their giving history, and it's going to show you donors who gave between $5,000 and $10,000 to a nonprofit in the past 5 years. They're more likely to continue donating to charity. Nonprofit involvement, it's going to show you if individuals in your database, what organizations are affiliated with, if they served on boards, if they have worked for nonprofits, foundations they serve on, grant review committees, any involvement with a nonprofit, there's a paper history of it's going to show you what it is. There also are going, it's going to go over the RFM, which is the recency, frequency, and monetary value of the gift. The more recent, the higher the frequency and the greater the value of past gifts, the more likely that donor is going to be a major donor prospect. Now, if you have an individual giving program, you can have individuals in your donor base right now who would classify as major donors. But you need to build the relationship, because because somebody has the capacity to make a gift doesn't necessarily mean they're going to. Major givers have a connection to the organization. They are extremely involved. They are attached to the mission. They are involved in more than one level. So we need to work on engaging those individual donors to get them as involved with Kids Chance as each of you are, so they want to make those major gifts if they have the capacity. Wealth indicator tools. Windfall and iWave, two of my favorites. I work with them with smaller nonprofits, and I say smaller nonprofits, organizations with a budget under 150,000. They provide both nonprofit data and they provide wealth indicators. They work great with all of the CRMs. They integrate. It's a simple data transfer. It provides you very usable information, and it also provides you reports, and the turnaround time is pretty quick. Donor Search, it's another one. It's great. It provides you a lot of information. It's a little pricier than what the other two are. And to be honest, I don't really think the quality of the data is much better. I have contacts at both Windfall and iWave. A lot of them will do an initial data screen of your database if you've never had one done before at no cost to you. So if this is something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out and we can make those. Is the email address for? Yeah, so I will send you, Susan, and it may be, I apologize. I will send you the email for Windfall after the presentation. So I actually have a contact there. Very nice gentleman. His name is Mark Phelan. I will provide you his information to reach out to. I also have a contact at iWave if anybody is interested in that. Her name is Edna Poli. Great. And I think she can answer those questions for you on those programs, set up demos for you, and point you in the right direction with those. Major donor cultivation. So this would be the next step after you've gone through your prospecting, you know who they are, you've looked at all your data. Just because somebody can make a $2 million gift doesn't mean they're going to. So you actually have to now take the data and start working on how you're going to build those relationships. These are just some very basic ideas for major donor cultivation. You want to schedule a get to know visit. These can be done in person, they can be done virtual, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. Major giving, you need to remember, is a very personal process. This is going to be I don't want to say the most personal, but this is going to be a relationship and a gift that you are going to cultivate over a 12 to 18 month period. This is not something you're going to turn around in 3 months or 6 months, so don't get frustrated. You want to work this gift, work these relationships for a year before you ever make an ask, so you can really have them engaged with the organization. I would recommend inviting them to meet with your leadership. Have an exclusive meet and greet with your boards, invite them to a board meeting, invite them to scholarship presentation. So items where you have leadership there. If you have a corporate partner program, invite them to a meet and greet with them. So any way that you can involve these individuals with multifacets of your organization is going to help. Prospects for a small VIP event. These can be little dinners. These can be Saturday outings at a country club. These can just simply be meet and greets at a brewery. I was just at one that was literally held in a garage, and the gentleman worked for MedRisk, and he microbrewed beer in his garage, and they had a great time. And it was very casual, very low key, but you got the prospects there and they were able to make some great connections. What Barb's focusing on, leveraging your fundraising event. Well done fundraising events can be a great way to raise money and make new contacts. Golf tournaments, galas. Pennsylvania now does car shows that they basically invite everybody to, inside and outside of the industry. They invite a lot of the corporations, the medical practices here in the area, insurance companies, financial institutions. These are a great way to get people there who may not be familiar with Kids Chance, but who like to golf and who like to do galas. And it's a way to show off what you do best in something that you're already doing. So it's a great way to cultivate those major donors. Corporate donors. Corporate donors you can look at for 3 things. Sponsorship for events. So you're going to work with corporate donors to sponsor golf tournaments, galas, dinners, any type of event such as that. Partnerships are going to be a little different. Those are going to provide benefits based on defined levels. And annual giving. Yes, corporate donors make end of year gifts too. So my question real quick, if you could just answer in the chat real quick before I go any further, does anybody on the call have a corporate partner program in their state? Yeah, perfect. I'm from Pennsylvania, Kathy. So I've talked to Suzanne a couple of times, and I've been following everything you guys do. So I'm actually going to be attending your gala in October. So Pennsylvania actually has a really good corporate partner program, and I know that they have built that program for a number of years, and they're working on getting ready to launch an endowment. So for everybody who doesn't have a corporate partnership program, what this is going to do is it's going to do two things, actually three things. You need to look at corporate partnerships. They're going to be mutually beneficial. The partnership needs to benefit both your organization and the business. If you are gone to a corporate partner prospect, you need to show them what they are going to get out of the relationship. You want to make sure that partner prospects have an alignment of your value. Does this business represent the values of Kids Chance? You want to make sure that the company, reflects your mission and understand your values. Since most of Kids Chance partners come from within the workers' comp industry, that's pretty much a given. And you want to make sure that there's open communication. You want to make sure that you agree upon expectations of the partnership. You want to let them know what you're hoping to get out of the partnership. They need to let you know what they want out of it. And you want to make sure that there is no miscommunication. So open communication, make sure it's a company that aligns with your values, and make sure that it's a mutually beneficial relationship. How do corporate partnerships benefit nonprofits? So this is going to give you some ideas. It's going to provide foundational funding or guaranteed revenue stream. Corporate partner programs in the beginning are a year commitment. As you grow them, they can be up to 3 years. But when you have corporate partners and you come into your new fiscal year, that is already guaranteed income. So let's say you have 3 corporate partners that you know are good through fiscal year 22-23, and each one of them have a $10,000 commitment. Right there is $30,000 in guaranteed revenue that you start the year with, that you know you have. So corporate partnerships provide you a little foundation. It gives you a cushion to provide for unforeseen circumstances similar to what we saw with COVID. This is going to help you grow your volunteer program. Corporate partner programs, you're going to be engaging different corporations. You're going to engage them at different levels. When corporations partner with nonprofits, they want their employees to be involved. So this is going to help with that. You want to make the most out of your corporate partners with employee volunteer, and you can almost call it employee volunteer schemes. You're going to have access to a lot of helping hands, because when employees volunteers have a positive experience, that's going to get back up to the higher ups, and it's going to keep them involved. You're also going to improve your community visibility. You're going to grow your individual giving program, and you're going to do that because when you engage corporate partners as partners, when you engage corporations as partners, individuals within those companies are going to support the organization because the company does, and is going to give you a base for that program. It's also going to help you identify major donors as you involve those top level individuals within your partners. How do companies benefit from partnerships with nonprofits? Employee satisfaction. Employees want to know they work for a company that cares. They want to know that they are working for an organization that gives back to the community. And by partnering with nonprofits, it allows them to do this. It's also going to help them with professional development. It's going to help them with public image. And it's also going to help them with marketing and for cause marketing, especially for awareness months. Creating a corporate partner program. What you want to do with this, and I am happy to send out a very generic sample corporate partner program. When you are setting this up, you want to set clear and defined levels. So you do not want any misconceptions. If you are going to have, say, 3 corporate partners and they're going to be gold, silver, and bronze for $15,000, $10,000, and $5,000, you want to have those levels set. Most important, you want to assign benefits to those levels. You want to be very specific what a gold level partner is going to get over a silver level partner. Maybe a gold level partner gets permission to use branding rights, that they can use your logo in limited circumstances. They get represented at all of your events, or maybe they get included in a newsletter or a feature story. But you want to make sure that those benefits are assigned to each individual level, and the higher levels, the most benefits working their way down. And that will be part of the marketing plan. When you're doing a corporate partner program, you're going to also want to incorporate marketing as far as how you're going to promote your partners. Are you going to include them on your website? You include them on your social media, in your newsletters, how you're going to involve them to give them the visibility so they feel that they're getting the most bang for their buck. How are you going to identify corporate partners? In our industry or with Kids Chance, it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to look for organizations within the workers' comp industry. So you want to research those companies. You want to find out what companies are based in your state, which ones support your events, who your board works for, who you work for, how you can engage those individuals. Striving for relevance, again, with what we do, we work within a little bit of a fishbowl. So you need to, with the states and working with national, I will say this, I've spoken to the states and I know it gets frustrating because you feel as if you are constantly trying to fight national for relevance. I don't ever want you to feel that way, because we are here to support you. I am here to support you. And I will do whatever I can to help you set these up and get them up and running within the states. You are the ones who do the work. You are the ones who give the scholarship. So we want to make sure that you have the foundation and the money to do that. So it's not a competition for dollars. It's just, we need to work with the states to identify those corporate partners that have ties to your state individually. I know a lot of the corporate partners that we work with also support the states. So for example, MedRisk is in Florida. I know they do a lot of support in that part of the state. I know Paradigm, I believe, is stationed in is headquartered in California. I could be wrong, but I know they do a lot of support in that state. So don't get frustrated. We can all share this. There's a lot to go around, and you want to utilize your personal connections. So your board is fantastic. I'm going to reference Pennsylvania just because I work with a number of their board members. Suzanne serves on our national board. Suzanne's fantastic. She works for a company. She's also very supportive of Pennsylvania. You also need to look at the national board members who are from your state to see what connections they can help you utilize within your state to build those connections. Appeals. So appeals, you're probably going to look at me as if I'm crazy, but every nonprofit should be doing about 4 to 6 organized appeals every year. And those appeals need to come around very specific times and be planned out. Appeals are going to be letters or emails you send out to your supporters throughout the year. For these, you want to know your audience. You want to be able to tell a story, and you want to show how their support has been effective. This right here, it is not a great look at it because the picture is a little distorted and PowerPoint is not my friend, but this is an end of year giving appeal that I put together to send out to the individual giving base for the National Center. 3 things with appeals. You want to make it personal. You want to make it urgent. And you want to really focus on how their gift has already changed your organization. So the first thing I did in this is to change the life of a child. Automatically, it's going to get your attention. It's poignant, it's focused, it's what we do. You can and have made a difference in the lives of 2 young people. With donors, you don't always want to just be coming back and saying, well, I need more money. You want to say, you know what? We know you've already supported us. You've already made a difference. This is what you've done, and this is what you can do through making another gift. So this is going out actually right now to close out our end of year giving appeal. When should we schedule appeals? This is a little tricky. So appeals are going to be scheduled based on the nonprofits, basically. End of year giving, it's a no-brainer. Everybody is going to have an end of year giving appeal. So in October, you should have your end of year giving strategy planned, and it should start in November. November is National Scholarship Month. It's also Giving Tuesday. It's also the launch to the holidays. So you need to start planning in October and have that ready to go. Giving Tuesday appeals can go out in the form of emails. There should be a social media component that you're supporting it. There can also be a direct mail through a postcard. Did you make your Giving Tuesday gift? Giving Tuesday is going to stream right into end of year giving, and that should start about the second week in December and should go all the way up through the end of December. End of year giving appeal week. These are just a couple things I kind of pulled out that you can look at. October is National Physical Therapy Month. I know the National Center, we're working with a few physical therapy companies within workers' comp. This will be a great way, a great appeal month that you could do something surrounding Kids Chance. I know this is a little morbid, but August is actually National Make a Wheel Month. So it's a great time if you are doing endowments or planned giving to do a focus piece on that. Yes, and November is Awareness Week, and Barbara and I are actually still trying to figure that out with how we're going to be doing that. So I may be a little more involved with Awareness Week, but really, I know it's July. You're coming into the new fiscal year. This should be the first thing you're looking at. The summer, July, August should be all about donor cultivation, touch points with donors, reaching out to the donors you have. My advice for the next 2 months would be to engage donors that you lost last year. Emails, hey, we missed you last year. This is what we did. Here are some of our highlights, and try to re-engage those donors. But really igniting, re-engaging your donor base to be ready to go for end of year giving, and that plan should be ready and in place by October. This is going to sound really funny, but January, it's a fabulous time to do an appeal because no one else is having them. You can come through the end of December. Everybody else is taking a deep breath going, oh my God, we're done. You know what? Why not take January and do an appeal to re-engage donors that, hey, you didn't make a gift at the end of year. You know, we missed you. What can we do? So January, great time to have an appeal. Most important, every nonprofit's unique. Your appeal needs to fit your donor's giving history. But with appeals, I would recommend at least 4 a year. And November and December, I've already given you 2 of them. So it's going to be Awareness Week. You're going to have an appeal tied over. Giving Tuesday, November's National Scholarship Month. December, end of the year giving, you're going to be busy. The other 2, I'll let you pick out from the rest of the year. Wrap up, annual giving program. The organization's ongoing and overall fundraising effort. 3 main objectives of annual giving is to build stronger donor relationships, raise money for operational and campaign expenses, and to diversify funding sources. Components to annual giving, again, you do not want to just rely on events. Events are great. They are a fantastic part of a comprehensive annual giving program, but you want to focus on building your individual donor base, which will turn into building a major donor program. Corporate donors, corporate partner programs are key, and planned appeals. Like I said, 4 to 6 of those a year should be planned out and ready to go. Resources. These are a couple items that once I get them approved, I'm gonna send out to everybody. It's going to be a sample annual giving plan. It's one for an organization, a few organizations that I've worked with that have small operating budgets. So they're going to be smaller to mid nonprofits to give you a realistic idea of what we're doing. I have some major donor outreach email templates that you can use and you can customize if you're to that point. I have a sample corporate partner program that just defines levels. It defines benefits for those levels and gives a little bit of a launch for it. And I also have some sample appeals that I can share with you. And those appeals will be for everything from end of year giving to Giving Tuesday, actually one for Awareness Week that we did last year. And you are free to customize those in any way that you would like. And I want to thank you all for taking the time to, let me turn my camera back on here. for spending your afternoon with us. And I know it was a lot and we threw it all in there. And
So that was
anybody-
great. Thank you so much, Nichole. If you guys have any questions, why don't you throw them into the chat box, and we can answer questions. If you're interested in any of the materials that Nikki was talking about, you can email us at the admin@kidschance.org address, and we'll send those to you. And I would say, a lot of our states are small,
Yes.
so don't be overwhelmed about this. You don't have to
No.
start at the top. So think about simple steps you can take. How are you getting names from people? So start, acquiring those names as your corporate sponsors are coming in for those golf tournaments and those other events that you're doing. How are you thanking those people? So it's not just the corporate sponsor you want to thank. Can you thank the participants individually? How can you build those relationships? We have one Kids Chance organization that's small. It's relatively new, but they were given a 4-year, $100,000 grant by a private foundation. That is the way that they survived COVID. Now that grant was from an individual.
Wow.
So he's giving through his foundation, but it's the individual who made that grant possible. So again, it goes back to, there are a lot of other sources beyond events and just that corporate CEO relationship that we can be tapping. And if you've never done appeals before, and I know a lot of the states aren't really doing that yet, do one at the end of the year. Start an email appeal. Just start small, so don't get overwhelmed. And I think, what I think Nikki and I would both leave you with is that, look, people have money. People give money, and they won't give it to you unless you ask for it.
Exactly.
So you got to put yourself out there and ask for it. It's not intimidating. It's not overwhelming, because people expect to be asked. And if they have a relationship with you, then the support will follow. So I think that's it. Any final words of wisdom?
Barb's right. Start small. This was not meant to be overwhelming. A lot of the nonprofits I work with are small nonprofits. They are budgets under 150,000. So I would say, if you take anything going through the end of the year, focus on 2 things. Focus on increasing your individual giving base. So even if you just add 20 new donors by the end of the year, that's 20 people in that database that you did not have in there before. And as you're collecting names, and when I say individual donors, I don't mean just people that have donated. I'm talking prospects. So I'm talking anybody that you get a name from. If somebody registers for your event, or somebody calls your office, or you are out somewhere and somebody gives you a business card at a networking event, they now go in your database, and you're going to start reaching out to them, because that's how you build that. And as far as appeals, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share anything I can with you. End of year appeal, make it simple. Do it during awareness week. Just a simple email appeal, a couple social media posts. You will be amazed at the results that you will get, especially in the last quarter of the year.
Right. And as Nikki said, we are here to support you. We know that you're mostly volunteer organizations, and we have been doing this a long time. Both Nikki and I have been raising money for a long, long time. We have right at our fingertips a lot of resources we are more than happy to share. So please don't hesitate to ask. And just thank you for all that you're doing in the States to raise the money, to support the kids, to really make a difference in their lives. So we're here to support you in that. And please share this webinar. Will be up on the YouTube station in just a few days. So please share it. You can send the link to anybody else in your organization that you would like to perhaps join in on the conversation with you. So thank you, Nikki, for being here.
You're very welcome. Thank you
everybody for all that you do. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.